And like in Veritas, everyone, with honor, respect, and gratitude. Welcome to this Clubhouse event. Your energy, health, be responsible with empowering solutions. Today is artificial intelligence to be taking over our world. So I like to start by raising the vibration in the space that we're in now by calling for the highest possible vibration and calling for the truth to come forward into our discussion this evening, so that we may see the truth in all that we see, so that we may hear the truth in all that we hear, and so that we may speak the truth in all that we say. Shall we be in that frequency of truth, and shall we have nothing but the truth? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, showing us the way through honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the power divine feminine to bring balance back into our world, bringing forth balance through the way of honor, respect, and gratitude? Shall we call for the highest possible vibration, calling for the highest possible vibration, calling for the highest possible vibration? I now ask that everyone take a sip of water and ask for the water to hydrate our brains and body. Water is that medium that holds memory and will assist in the flow of information that we share together here this evening on Clubhouse. Now take a deep breath in, bringing in peace, and release and exhale, letting everything else out. Take another deep breath in, bringing in joy and gratitude, and exhale out. And another deep breath in, bringing in life into our bodies, and exhale, releasing all that does not serve us. And Lakesh and Veritas, everyone, I call forth the oneness and truth of the information shared by each and every one of us on this call, calling in that frequency of truth and all that is truth, with honor, respect, and gratitude to you all. And for those who are unfamiliar with the term and Lakesh, it's a Mayan greeting that means oneness, signifying unity where everything and everyone are interconnected. And it is that idea of community where we can share with one another ideas, goals, and aspirations. So, Enlakesh, so Veritas is the word of that means truth, so that we can see the truth in all things. So therefore, Enlakesh and Veritas is that declaration of oneness and truth in which we are clearing our spaces, the space we're in now, so that we may be able to bring forth a truthful, elevated, and enlightened discussion this evening, clearing away those ill thoughts that we tend to pick up and carry with us from throughout the day in our life experiences. And remember, our words have power. So it is important that we use our words carefully, using words that will uplift, encourage, and enlighten. And by doing so, as a collective, will help us to transform our spaces and places into higher frequencies that will result in better experiences in our lives and raising and assisting the vibration of those that we meet. So, Enlakesh and Veritas, everyone, with honor, respect, and gratitude. I would like for everyone again to hold their water in their hands and with intention in mind, send that frequency of Enlakesh to your water, and then take a sip of your water, thereby assisting through the signal and incorporating that elevated frequency of Enlakesh into the cellular structures of our bodies, as we are 70% water. And using this technique will assist in the ease and flow of information we share with one another this evening. All right, everyone. So I want to first start by letting everyone know. I don't know if anyone has seen the movie Plandemic 3, The Great Awakening. It's called Plandemic 3, The Great Awakening. And the movie is completely free and can be found on the website thehighwire.com or plandemicseries.com. The movie is about an hour and a half long, and I've actually posted it in my profile, so you can have the website, but I'll mention it again. But I recommend you see it, because what we're going to do next week, we're going to have a discussion on that movie. And it's a very interesting movie. I encourage everyone to watch it. Also, I wanted to discuss that there's been a lot of information shared in the recent weeks with regards to advancement of technology and the with monitoring and automation. And we as a society are completely addicted to our electronic communication devices, which have evolved into the smartphones that we use. And we actually feel helpless when we lose them or we don't have them at hand. And then you have to think about it. Our children it's become, these electronic devices have become our children's babysitters. Our children are starting to become conditioned to be without human interaction and interacting with these devices, basically embracing artificial intelligence. I don't know, have you heard recently? I heard like the young teenagers and young adults are having what they call silent parties, where everyone brings their own music from their smartphone in their headphones, and they go into the same room, and they're listening by themselves, but they're just in the same room with everyone, but they don't talk to anyone. I don't know what the purpose of the party is, but I think that that's kind of crazy, but that's what people are doing. So, the point of parties is to really have human interactions so that we have the ability to meet others for potential hookups, basically. And in a sense, it's a way for us to search for our appropriate mate so that we can settle down and have children and basically kind of propagate our species. And this form of artificial intelligence interaction is going to significantly affect our lineage and our legacy, decreasing it. It's almost like it's planned, you know. Then there's the issue of surveillance, because I was listening to podcasts on global digital IDs that's now evolving, which is a form of surveillance. So global surveillance. China has already been revered for this as an example. And I shared previously from previous Clubhouse events that in China, you're automatically fined for jaywalking across the street, because they'll capture you on video surveillance through your smartphone that you're carrying with you, because everyone has a smartphone. So all of this is in preparation for us for lockdowns. I mean, you can see it. Our children are growing up with electronics, being programmed to prefer electronics over human interactions. And the electronic communications are getting out of hand, going to so far and to the detriment of our existence. And then we've got okay, anyway, yes, please. Anybody have anything to say? Comments?
In Lakesh Veritas, with honor, respect, and gratitude
And Lakeisha
to
Veritas, honor,
everyone.
respect, and gratitude.
Yes, I wanted to speak about the idea of the children with the electronic devices.
Yes.
My grandchildren, especially my oldest grandson, he's about to be 8. Um, he was so enthralled in the his phone and playing the games that he couldn't get dressed for school. If you
Mm-hmm.
were speaking to him, he completely tuned you out, like could,
Yep.
could not hear you. You would have to literally either, go in his face or tap him or, speak louder for him to kind of like snap out of the trance that he
But
was in
yep.
with the
Yep.
device. So my daughter, she would periodically take the phone from him, and he was also having migraine headaches.
Mm.
But she would periodically take the phone from him, and he would throw a tantrum. Even at
Mm-hmm.
his age, he would fall out on the floor and scream and kick and cry like a very small child.
Mhm.
And, she would end up being lenient and giving him the phone back after a while. Well,
Mhm.
grandma, stepped in. I'm old school. So I hid the phone. Nobody
Mhm.
could find it. And he started playing outside.
Mhm.
And recently, I've noticed that all of the children in the neighborhood have started playing outside and leaving their devices, alone, and not being, watching the TV on the iPhones and the iPads and, whatever other electronic devices they had. And they're outside, from sun up to sundown, and
Mhm.
actually don't want to come in the house. And I
Mhm. That's
remember that's
beautiful.
how it was when we were young. When it was time to come in, we wanted to throw a temper tantrum.
Mhm.
So I think it's a beautiful thing that the consciousness is shifting, and but we have to kind of enforce that the children have a very limited time on these devices, and we also need to do it for ourselves, because
Right.
we can get caught up. You go to look at one thing, you get a notification, next thing you know, you've been on your device for 3 hours scrolling on TikTok. And
Mhm.
it's something that we have to be really aware of, and shut it down, basically.
Yeah,
In
it's a
Veritas.
thank you, Stephanie, and Lakesh Veritas. It's addicting for not only the children, for ourselves too. We've become so dependent on it, and it was purposefully done that way. Karen, did you have something to say?
Yes, in Lakesh and Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, everyone. So I couldn't agree more with what you said, Stephanie, and, Delilah. And, as you were kind of presenting the outline, what just occurred to me, well, not just occurred, but we have to take personal responsibility, because these devices are designed to be addictive.
Yeah.
And there's I think it's called Social Dilemma. It was a
Mm.
documentary on Netflix maybe about 2 years ago. It was pretty sure it was 2021.
Okay.
And it basically walked you through how these algorithms are set up, how the ads are placed, and how it's monitored to really just tap into your brain chemistry. And as
Mhm.
you said, Stephanie, you look at this, you look at that, and then 3 hours has gone by. It can be addictive for us. So for a child that has very little maybe awareness of what it is, it's just like this deep pleasurable rabbit hole that they go down, and they don't even know to come up for air.
Yeah.
So I liken this to any new technology. And, it takes us a while to learn how to use it. So if you look at the automobile, it wasn't until the 90s, I believe, when they passed seatbelt laws. Like, how many decades, almost 100 years went by before there were laws about how to be safe in a car,
Yeah.
and the car was everywhere. And
Right.
so you got to figure where 20, not even when it comes to smart devices, we're maybe 15 years in, not even 20 years in yet. And so I think the only thing we can do is look at the lessons from the past and understand that it's going to take a really long time before anything meaningful is done on a mass level. And it's really going to be up to us. And,
Yeah.
in the last week, I've had conversations with people who are in the space of virtual reality, augmented reality, and AI.
Mm.
And it is something, because we're talking about smartphones and social media and all that. that is going to pale in comparison
Right. So the
to,
metaverse, right? That
yeah,
metaverse. Hmm.
AI, VR, all of that coming. And so, it's, and I was speaking with some women who are in the educational space. And, you know, the argument they presented, which I believe is true, is the achievement gap is already very vast between, the mainstream and, children of color in underserved communities. And if we are not on the technological train, that express bullet train that's coming through, then that achievement gap is going to become the Grand Canyon and it may not be surmountable. So they're really focused on how to utilize this technology to uplift communities, specifically targeting underserved minority communities. And then with AI, same thing. And AI comes in many different forms. I'm looking at it right now from a marketing perspective.
Yeah.
How can this be used from marketing perspective? Many of the people on this call have businesses, they're solopreneurs. Marketing is important. How do we utilize it? And if we don't get in front of it, we will be, if we already feel like we're struggling to keep up, which, hello, I'm raising my hand, by the time AI comes, it's going to be like a freight train came. So the question becomes, it's inevitable. We're going to have to interact with it just to be abreast of how things are evolving. But how do we use it responsibly and with
Yeah.
awareness is really the question.
Yes. Yeah. And I agree with you. Today I was at a meeting where they gave a talk on uh, artificial intelligence and social media. And the main focus was utilizing a software program that emulates human data. And the most prominent one is referred to as Chat GPT. That's the one that's more widely used, and it's used for business to enhance the presence of a business, coaching, generating clients, and so forth. And there's a version that's completely free. But the catch is that the data, it collects, it's got like 400 no 175 million phrases and words in its database. So what it'll do is it'll generate responses to requests like develop a mission statement for your business plan or business plan period, all sorts of things. And it's a fantastic program. But the catch is that it's collecting data. So it's collecting your data, and it's collecting your data for free. It stays in the system, and it's an open system so anybody can access it. So the issue is that you must be responsible to not put sensitive information in there because it becomes available to everyone that's out there in the open. And so it's like you were saying, Karen, how do you utilize a system like that safely? And so I was talking to the presenter, and gave her that question, and then we came up with, well, you've got to maybe to get the, like, say you want a business plan or so forth, put in, ask for the skeleton, but not put in your proprietary idea into it, because otherwise it's open, and it's open for someone else to grab, or sensitive information on specific people. The person who brought the question up, and I had thought about it too, but it was an attorney that was there that brought that question. So there was no real answer to that, except you can't put your sensitive information. It's not advisable to put your sensitive information to the system.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had. And
Hmm.
specifically when it's about your own IP, what you're
Hmm.
creating, and how do you protect that? And so the answer I got was, obviously you're not going to put in anything super specific, so you kind of have to dance around using some generic wording
Yeah.
that you can take, and something that couldn't be easily identified or tied to something. And then
Mm.
I was told also that the memory, like, it doesn't store, like, so like if you're on your account, it, unless you save it, it doesn't store it, so it doesn't like have like those, the browser memory of everything you've ever done. It,
Oh, I thought it kept your, because you have an account. If you have an account, it kept your information.
if
Maybe
you
not for a while.
choose, right, like
Um,
if you choose to download your information off the server, which is what I would do,
yeah.
is take it off of there and then delete it. But I think these are all really good questions that we don't really have enough use with it yet to know the full answer.
Right. So even if, let's say, your information is no longer there, they still have your information. They do. Yeah, and I did, the instructor, the presenter, she did say that, they don't hold the information, but she said, she said they actually do. They hold all that information. They store it because that's how they generate these problem solving um, like answers or responses
Yeah,
to it. I
because it's
mean,
learning from itself. So every time information goes in, it processes that and it becomes
right.
part of the melting pot.
Exactly. Exactly. you know so it's just evolving. And then also, you know which was interesting is that I was listening also today on an artificial intelligence podcast where they use Joe Rogan's avatar to and another avatar, which was the expert speaker, CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, being interviewed. And it was a very interesting interview. And if you know Joe Rogan from before, I found that the questions and responses, well, the questions from the avatar Joe Rogan were to be kind of watered down, and the responses that this guy Altman gave were somewhat evasive, not really addressing the questions with definitive answers. So and then, let's talk about AI as a companion. I presented it back a couple of weeks ago, how Elon Musk, back in October 2022, where Elon Musk revealed a fully formed female robot to perform many duties, including being a companion for a man, for men who are lonely and can't find a partner. They appear very lifelike, but I'm not sure if they can do everything. Because I'm trying to figure out, you know, I mean, companion to talk, but I would think they need more than that. But that shows is not going to propagate a race, because you can't have a relationship with a robot and a human, at least not now. I would say.
Well, here's the interesting part. Well, the truth is you can have a relationship with anything. It just, what is the quality and the scope of that relationship? But um I just was listening to something that was talking about how they're grafting human skin cells and hair follicles, sweat glands onto these synthetic robots
Mm,
so that it could be more lifelike. Now, to me, now we're starting to talk cyborg. Now we're really crossing the line, but it was so that these things would be more lifelike. Now, as soon as you have human flesh and all of that kind of being a part of it, it kicks it into a whole new realm.
yeah,
Not
but
necessarily human consciousness, although they're working on how to extract that and
they
download it.
yeah, they will never be able to do that, though. That's a whole soul, that's what they're trying to achieve, but they'll never do that. It's the consciousness they have. That's the difference between an artificial intelligent robot and a human. We have consciousness. We think, we have feelings of love, hate. They can't hold emotions, not yet anyway. I don't think they will be able to. The movies are showing us what is potentially to occur. They call it fiction, but a lot of these things that were supposedly fiction years ago or have come up as a reality.
In Lakesh and Veritas, respecting
And
gratitude.
and the Kitchen Veritas, honor, respect, and gratitude, Sarana.
So I saw in an announcement in the past week that one AI companies, I can't remember which one, they got permission from the FDA to interface with the human brain.
Mm.
I don't
Hmm.
know what that means, but
Yeah, they were trying to do that for a while too, and so they probably got permission to do that now.
yes. Hmm.
Mm.
Yep.
Well, I don't know that you have ever seen that movie called Mother, Mother. I don't know what network it's on, but it's interesting. These robots raise a young girl. It's on Netflix,
Yeah, but I haven't.
I'm told.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's an interesting movie, you know. So, AI is everywhere. Yesterday I went to see the movie Furious X, and by the way, that was an excellent movie, but the movie was heavily inundated with artificial intelligence and destruction of humans. It was crazy. And then there was a report which was actually interesting, where there was a military exercise where there was a military drone that was programmed on a mission, an exercise mission to attack and destroy an enemy target, and then it was ordered to ignore one of the targets, from multiple targets that were assigned. But then the drone instead of following its orders, it then started attacking the human operator, including the attacking the control tower, and that was sending messages, as well as the location of the human operator. And the drone saw that person who was trying to stop it carrying out the mission as the enemy. And so this information actually leaked out, and I had heard some news reports that the military was took it off the media and tried to deny the simulation. So, the issue with these artificial intelligent devices is, problem solving. We humans can problem solve. I mean, we can change, we can alter, we can change the outcome. They have not been able to perfect it, and I'm not sure if they'll be able to, but anyway. And then another question from that AI podcast that was brought up was, will artificial intelligence replace the jobs out here? And so the avatar, the Sam Alton avatar, said, "Oh, that's a good question. There will be some jobs losses, particularly those jobs, those mundane, repetitive production of industry items, allowing for more time spent on the higher order jobs, such as job development and innovation." But to me, you typically require more people, more manpower for in the production portion of it. So therefore, there's going to be a total reduction in job availability. And then again, what about the hiccups that could occur? The ability to troubleshoot. So I thought it was something that was interesting to share, about artificial intelligence. It is coming, but we've got to figure out how to alter it, how to work it out so that it's in our favor. Um, and teach our children that there are alternative ways. And then another thing too is that, let's say, with, like, for instance, the smartphones, we're addicted to that, but they can shut those things down in a minute, and then where are we? We relied on a GPS. I remember looking at a street map and then just going through by memory to get from point A to point B. My kids don't know how to do it. And then I've gotten accustomed to just looking at the GPS to figure out how to go from point A to point B. But suppose we don't have it and nobody pays attention to the street names. I mean, I still do because that was back in the day. That's what we had to do, you know. But a lot of us, the young people, they don't do that. They just follow the GPS. So, like, I ask my daughter, what street was that? I don't know. They don't know what street it is. Ask your kids. All they do is follow that GPS. Any other comments? All right. Well,
I was cracking up when you said that, and
it's
I
true.
how I feel like an idiot because I can't remember phone numbers anymore.
Oh, that's a big thing. At least you know your mother's number, your house, but you've gotten so accustomed to it. At least I do remember my children's number, but I have to like think hard sometimes.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Because you're used to just pressing, touching a button.
Mm-hmm.
But suppose all that stuff goes out. They actually, I heard it was reported somewhere that they were giving the Senate satellite phones in preparation for our system going down. So that's something that you may want to start considering getting is some sort of a satellite device in
Oh.
order to be able to communicate. We've done some research on satellite text, but those phones run like $1,000, $2,000. I did find one for $599. And then and then you have to have a plan or provider for that. But I did find one device. It was like a text device for $149. Yeah, it's called a satellite communicator.
Oh, you need to, that. That sounds like the way to go.
Mm-hmm. $149. So you can text. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe getting your family members at least that with the plan. And I think it's like $20 a month for the
Mm-hmm.
plan. So that's what I was thinking on getting myself and my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So at least we have something. I have gotten everyone, excuse me, a map to keep in their car. At least they have that.
Yeah,
One of those atlases.
yeah, and a lot of the places that used to make maps aren't making them anymore.
Yeah, you got to go to like Barnes and Noble. Those things, and I got them at I went to Barnes and Noble and Amazon
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have
to get them.
from long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
So we've got to think about this.
for
We're giving our sovereignty over to somebody else.
mhm.
Yeah. Any other comments? All right. Well, I want to remind everyone of our weekly host responsibility sessions, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and at from 6 a.m., 12:30 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time through Zoom, as well as Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the of the Sun Dolphins and Whales meditations on the first, second, and third Sundays of every month, a great start of the week. And then there's the Abundance and Prosperity group call hosted by Of the Sun daily at 2:45 and 8:45 p.m. and only lasts for 5 minutes. And you can register on the Of the Sun website. And then our next Divine Nation workshop is this coming Friday at June 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And don't forget, I want to remind everyone, the movie Plandemic 3, The Great Awakening. See if you can watch that for the next meeting because we're going to have a discussion on that movie. You can get it. for free. It's a free movie. It's about an hour and a half, and you can find it on the High Wire, THEHIGHWIRE.com, or it's also on the website Plandemic Series, PLANDEMICSERIES.com. Again, completely free. So I've posted these addresses in my profile part of Clubhouse. All right. Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining and participating. Look forward to seeing you next week. And remember, knowledge is power, and taking action from this knowledge is true power. With honor, respect, and gratitude, and Lakesh and Veritas.
In Lakesh Veritas.
In Lakesh and Veritas.